funny how? It'd be funny like I'm a clown.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sight and Sound Breakdown, episode number 8. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to continue our journey tonight. 3 more movies off the list we're going to talk about. I've got a combination here. At least one I'm sure that many of you have seen, and then a couple that maybe you haven't seen or maybe even haven't heard of. So we'll talk about that. Give you an idea of maybe it's worth checking out. So we're getting off to a little later start recording than we expected. So I'm going to quickly introduce our panel, and then we'll dive right into this. Start off to the, I think he is on my left or right, whatever that is. Payson Johnson. Payson, how you doing? How you feeling about the movies we will be watching or discussing this evening?
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm doing very good.
We'll be doing a lot of talk with your hands tonight.
Oh
All
yes, Italia.
Oh God, you have me so nervous.
Yeah. All right, and directly below me, my other permanent co-host, Andrew. I know we try not to discuss the movies before the show. I got a little bit of a sneak peek on your opinion, at least one of them. But overall, first of all, thank you for being here again. Yeah. And how are you feeling tonight about our discussion for the evening?
Man, this is going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
There's one that I'm very curious to hear everyone else's thoughts on. One that I'm almost 100% sure I'm going to disagree with at least one person on this panel on. And then one that I'm going to fight to the death for.
Okay. Well, we'll see which one is which here in a minute. And finally, our guest tonight joining us is Mark Menchaca. You know him from Roundtable and a bunch of other stuff. But he's here with us tonight. Mark, you came in. You agreed to watch these 3 specific movies. We won't get into too much new ideas, but you're glad that you're on this episode.
Yeah, I'll be short and sweet in this one. I went through these last couple of days. I'm very tired, and I have not drank on call since I think the best of YLS. I think of almost a year ago. I brought myself a nice glass of Irish whiskey here today because
nice.
I'm ready to get into it here.
All right. Okay.
Let's go.
Let's do it. We'll start out all 3 movies, a 3-way tie tonight for number 72. We're going to start out with Journey to Italy from 1954, I believe, directed by Roberto Rossellini out of Italy, also with some French in there, I guess. Mostly Italy, I think. And in 2012, this is number 41, so it's dropped down some spots. But here we are talking about it right now. Journey to Italy is the story of an English couple who travels to Italy, the titular journey, so to speak. Ingmar Bergman and George Sanders, this married couple who travel to sell a piece of property that's been left to them by a deceased relative. There's obviously some tension in their marriage, and things go from there. So... Payson, I think I'm going to start with you. Give me your general thoughts on this one.
Yeah, this movie kind of has a very simple plot of just watching these 2 characters just travel along Italy. It kind of works as weirdly like an Italian travel guide of seeing Ingrid Bergman and George Sanders just visit these locales in Italy, accompanied by this really fun third man-esque score. Really love the score to this, and honestly, as a movie that kind of works as a bit of a vibes picture, I really enjoyed this of just seeing these 2 characters that are very clearly not at a good point in their relationship sort of see the joy they had in each other again by visiting these places and seeing their life reflected through the setting of the film.
I will say, you mentioned the travel log aspect. That was my favorite part of the movie. I think everybody knows how much I love Italy and Italian stuff, and I think this just was a lot of fun. Just kind of like Ingrid Bergman spends a lot of time, especially kind of on her own. Like, hey, I'm going to go do this today. I'm going to see this museum. I'm going to go see this natural, whatever, and just learning like facts about Italy and the art and the geography and everything was a lot of fun. I also enjoyed the music, like just a lot of like diegetic music where it was, there's always sound, whether it was somebody singing or playing music or just crowd yelling in Italian. Really gave it like a really like you said, like a really cool vibe to it. So that was my favorite part. Bar, what was your favorite part of this movie? Let's start with the good.
The scope. The scope of this film is actually beautiful. You've got like these big spacious shots sometimes, and then like towards the end you get that little bit of claustrophobia with like that big crowd in the parade. The scene where they're exploring, I don't quite know where in Pompeii this was, but it was like the scene with all the smoke. Like just like the way that it's shot and like the size and scale, you really get an idea of everything. That's what I liked about the movie.
Okay.
We'll get more into everything else.
Mark, I'm curious, just in general, what were your overall thoughts on the film?
You want me to get overall thoughts, or you want me to tell you what I liked?
We'll stay positive.
Okay, well, all right, I'll give you positive.
It's gonna be one of those episodes.
Well, the performances were solid. I think have a good base for Ingrid Bergman at this point. Thanks to playing Jack Pinchuk. So I think this was an interesting. This is an interesting film for that one. I am with all of you. Like, okay, like we saw Italy. And I guess also, I mean, I'm assuming everybody here saw an HBO Max, so we saw like the kind of little restoration of it and made it look all nice and pretty, and also we got to see like this church with all the skulls in it. So like I'm not really sure when that's supposed to get us at, but so it looked good, and the performances were good.
All right, let's trash this short shit. Being 41 last time, already too high. Being 72, still too high. Because this movie drags for only being an hour and a half. Like, the moment that they pop up on screen, immediately. There are some couples that you meet in life, and just from that little interaction, your immediate thought is, why are you two still together? And that's what I got this entire movie. And at the end, without spoiling much, I don't believe it. I don't believe the conclusion of this particular couple the way that this movie goes.
I kind of want to go back to something that Payson said earlier. I think he said something like, we see them like visit all these places, like find their love for each other. I'll disagree on that point. Like, I feel like they go around and think, I definitely don't like my wife/husband, but I kind of don't really like anyone else much more. I could tolerate this person, and I think I'll just stick with them because it's better than death alone. So
I need like, someone to cook.
And
I really love that nihilistic. Yeah, go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. I can keep going.
Okay, no, I really enjoy that like, nihilistic. Like, I love that nihilistic, humoristic view of like, yeah. When this movie started, I genuinely didn't feel like, okay, why are these people married? Like are they really right for each other? And as the movie just started going on, you just see like, oh, these weird elite individuals like just sort of drive each other crazy. And by the end, I was like, yeah, I guess they do just kind of deserve each other.
I thought it was interesting to watch just how kind of fragile they were both, because they both took everything so personal and so serious. And to me, honestly, like the funniest part was when, because you kind of see George Sanders, the husband, is like kind of flirty with other women. And then Ingrid Bergman brings up like somebody she knew when she was maybe in college, just a friend who wrote poetry, and she starts talking about his poetry. And George Sanders kind of just blows his stack at that. And then the movie, for like 10 minutes, the movie turns into Eyes Wide Shut. And he just like wanders off and is like on his own little journey to like try to like find something like to like either like get revenge on her for this like not even necessarily relationship, like friendship she had 20 years ago. But you see the same thing to her. Like every little thing he does is just like needles her and hurts her. So again, like Bar said, like, why are you together when like everything you both do seems to make you kind of miserable?
And it seems like you're both starting to do this on purpose to each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what movie does this idea, even though it's not like the same?
Good.
You know what?
Good.
You know what movie does this better, even though they're not really the same? Two for the Road. Thank you. Two for the Road does this
That's fair.
idea so much better because we actually see why the cracks are forming, but we still like both of those characters enough that we're kind of hoping for them, and we can see how this will work out in the end. I don't see couples therapy. I don't see a miracle of God happening that could potentially save this couple.
I mean, to me, like,
No, I thought the exact same thing when I was watching Spore.
To me, it's like,
Go
I don't really care. Like, whenever they were off on their own, and they're like, well, I guess they're gonna try to see if they can cheat. And I'm like, I don't care about this couple. Like, I never found them particularly interesting. Like, they were just kind of like, all right, we got this melodrama bickering, at each other. And it should have been like, if I'm being completely honest, I thought I'd be a little bit more wrapped up in that, especially, we got Bergman and Sanders, but I don't really feel like this movie utilizes Bergman in the right way. Even though I think she's still good, I feel like, when Bergman is at her best, whenever she's kind of playing a bit more like chaotic and a bit like paranoid, and I feel like she's a little bit of that in this movie, but it's like the movie has her on a leash and it won't let her go full Bergman. I feel like at some point they should have just let her go full Bergman. It would have brought a bit of spark into this.
Like anytime that she's in the car and she's talking to herself, like, "Oh, I'm going to show him that jerk. I'm going to," like, that would have been the perfect like kind of scene for that to happen. But you're right. It's so reined in.
See, I definitely do agree with Mark, where I do think that probably is Bergman at her best when she is that like unhinged. At the same time, when you think of movies like Casablanca, I think she can play more underhanded very well. And I think that's what she was doing here. I think the writing and the situations are just where sort of like the comedy did kind of get there for me. And just to go back to what Kirk was saying, maybe my favorite line of the movie was when they are arguing about Bergman's old boyfriend in college, where she says he wasn't a fool, he was a poet, and then George Sanders says, "What's the difference?" I just found that very funny. But no, I just found the way how Rossellini takes these characters and just puts them in different scenarios, and like the scene at the museum where you see Ingrid Bergman like so disturbed by these statues' eyes. Like I genuinely really loved it. And I think I was just like caught up in the literal journey to Italy we are going on.
I mean, I feel that too. I think that I like the way that the things they were experiencing kind of, went along with the the things they were seeing in Italy went along with their relationship and what was happening to their relationship. Usually I hate heavy-handed symbolism, but I love the fact that like this meltdown of their relationship and like all the impending disaster is happening in the shadow of a literal volcano. Yeah. And then just like you said, like the scene where they're talking about they're in the catacombs and how the people come and pray for these people who they don't know, and it's just out of pity because they have no one else. And it's like kind of like just how that's Ingrid Bergman, like she has like they don't have, there's nobody else for them. They're just there's nowhere else to go because they don't have anything. So I really liked how the journey, the little vacation they were on, kind of played along with everything else. But yeah, I think ultimately I agree with Barr that the problem was there's just no foundation for the relationship. Two for the Road was another movie I thought of a lot when I was watching this, because that movie, it shows you some of the good times. And it shows you the foundation they had in the relationship and why you would want them to stay together because of what they had before. This movie is just kind of like, even at the beginning, the first scenes, like they're getting along okay, like they're not arguing, but it's very cool. And there's a disconnect there from minute one. So they don't have kids. They don't seem to have. There doesn't seem to be anything like really keeping them together. Anything that would make you, oh, they have to stay together for this. That just seemed to be what was missing from the relationship. I was much more interested in the parts where they were separated than in the parts where they were together.
I think Payson, you brought up the museum scene, which I loved a lot of the ideas in that, but I think it brings up my biggest problem with the movie as well, is that this movie is just trying to get it over with. Like the way that one guy who's showing her around is showing her the museum. He's like, "Here's this. Okay, let's go. Here's this. Okay, let's go. Here's this. Okay, let's go." That's what the movie felt like to me. It's like, bickering couple. Here's a scene where they argue. Here's a scene where they're looking at something in Italy. Here's a scene where they argue. Here's a scene where they're looking at each other. Here's a scene, and then oh, look, we're at the end. We may as well wrap this up as quick as possible. Can we talk about the ending?
Yeah, go throw up the spoilers tag pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Bullshit. Bullshit. The way that this movie ends, and
why do you say that?
and the way that this movie ends, and the way that this couple have been acting the entire time towards each other, her getting carried off by the crowd, and that's when he's suddenly like, "I'll come save you." Like, I don't buy that at all. First of all, she's not in danger. She's just getting lost in like the high volume shuffle of that crowd. It's not like she's about to get trampled or anything like that. So there's no real like stakes in that moment that should spark something like that. It feels like they're trying whatever they can to just make it so this couple ends up back together at the end and give it a try. I was just not buying it considering the entire rest of the film.
See, and like so maybe I am completely misreading this film because it is listed as a straight drama. I just found the comedy there to just be really just kind of humorous, of this guy who has very clearly been like very ultimately selfish, and you very clearly see his like fragility in this relationship shown throughout the film. That like the moment where she like has a hint of maybe being in danger, that is the one thing that just shows like, okay, this is my moment and this is what's going to rekindle this. And I don't think this movie has like a very optimistic view of Catherine and Alex, and I think we as the audience are just supposed to like sort of like laugh and smirk at that as we've seen these selfish characters go through this journey to eventually get to that point.
I didn't think of the viewpoint at the end. Because if the movie is trying to tell us that you shouldn't still be optimistic about these two, it doesn't seem to play it like that, for me at least.
That's fair.
It seems to be too straightforward And then for the end to be kind of like that, it just doesn't. If that's what the intention was, it doesn't work. Because you show us, you don't kind of take us on that ride throughout the entire movie. You can't just play that at the end.
Yeah, I'm somewhere overall in this movie. I'm somewhere between Payson and Bar and Mark. I think I'm like I said, I'm right in the middle of all you. But I feel like the ending is a problem because I wouldn't mind a happy ending. Like if they found a good way to tell a happy ending with this story, I wouldn't mind it. But I feel like it is just so tacked on. Like it feels like I don't think it's the case here, obviously, but it feels like studio notes. Like, oh, they have to be together at the end. Like, you have to make it happen. And so, just like a quick rewrite of, okay, well, here's scrap the last page. This happens, and they're together. I just feel like, and it's weird because I get, Rossellini and Bergman were married, and this movie was made, from what I understand, like at the tail end of their relationship, and a lot of what was going on here reflects that. So the fact that they would even try for an upbeat ending to me, unless that was maybe him, like a last-ditch effort on his part, the fact that they would even try to any kind of optimistic ending, because like Bar said, they're not selling that. They're selling like a lot of pessimism through the whole film and a lot of hopelessness about this relationship. And for them to just turn on a dime was really unsatisfying for me.
That actually kind of makes me like the movie a little more. It's at the end of the relationship. Rossellini is like, babe, you want to stay together? No? All right.
Let me throw this Hail Mary out there
Yeah.
and see if this will work. Maybe I can save my
This
marriage.
is the version. This is the 50s version of Sofia Coppola making Lost in Translation to save the Spike Jones marriage.
Mark, did you have any thoughts on the ending at all?
I mean, like, I feel like I play a bit into the pessimism of the ending just because, like, I never believed they were splitting apart. Because I feel like the movie tells you, hey, we don't really like each other, but we also don't really want to be alone. We don't really want to be alone. We don't really want to date anybody else. Like, we're kind of fine being miserable together. So, like, I never thought for a second that they were going to split up. Like, they were going to find some weird reason to stay together. And you know what? The parade offered us like a nice solution for that.
All right. So before we go to our final thoughts, does anybody else have any other parts of the movie? Anything else they want to discuss?
Nah.
I'm a little bit
Good.
curious, at least in this, like, just real quick, because I think this is like my first Rossellini viewing, like my first Rossellini movie. Like, at least from you guys, I don't know if you've seen more Rossellini movies. I think where does this kind of land in like his filmography?
I don't think I have seen anything else by him.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure this is my first.
Okay, I was curious if like you
Yeah.
guys had seen more.
Let me see.
Yeah, this is my first as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is my first.
Yeah, and I don't know if he has any other movies on the list or not. So if there's anything higher rated than this, I think Rome Open City might be. I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, I mean this is definitely considered one of his best movies. So
Oh, well.
Mhm.
Unless you ask Jack Pinchuk, and then it's Stromboli.
Yeah, I didn't get around to that one, Jack. Sorry.
Stromboli.
All right, so we're trying something new for this episode. We are retiring the gladiator thumbs, and we actually have a rating system that we came up with. So it's a 5-point rating system, and the way it works is if you give it a 5, that means it would be in contention possibly for your own ballot if you were making one. 4 means it's definitely worthy to be in the top 100. 3 means it's not an all-time great, but it might be worth giving a watch. 2 is overrated. You can probably skip this one. and a 1 is what were the critics even watching? This isn't any good. So I will start with Mark. I'll let you go first. What rating are you going to give this?
This is not the worst thing ever, but I do think like it is a fairly forgettable romance film. I think it's a 2.
Okay. Payson, how about you?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be the high mark on this one for the panel. I think I'm going to give it. Yeah, I'm going to give it a low 4. I really, really like this movie, and for this being the Rossellini representative on this list, I do understand it at that, and I do understand it making the top 100.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 3. This is a movie I watched. So I'm like, why is this in the top 100? Why did this, I didn't see that value to it. But I think the combination of Rossellini, Bergman, the Italian cinematography, and everything you get to see there, I definitely think it's worth checking out. Bar, where you land on this?
This movie is mid. It is the textbook definition of mid for me. So I'm giving it a 2.
Okay. All right. So average probably be a little bit low there, but that is what it is, and we will move on to our next film. We are going to stay in Italy because next film tied for number 72 is La Ventura from 1960, directed by Michelangelo Antoni. Is it Antonioni? Because that's how it's spelled. But that sounds
I
so.
would assume so.
It sounds so ridiculous when you say it out loud that I'm assuming it has to be something different.
It sounds like an appetizer dish at a local.
It sounds like you're
restaurant.
you're fake Italian. Antonioni, it's just.
Hey, can we get 3 orders of the Antonionis here?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of the bastards called themselves that, when they were trying to sneak in the theater.
Hey guys, anyone who wants pizza, I can call Antonionis.
But Italy and France, another production, and this one was rated very highly in 2012. This almost cracked the top 20, so down into the 70s now. But La Ventura, this is a movie that is about things, I guess. It starts out. It is about. It starts out as a hangout movie. There's a girl and her fiance and her friend, and they go on a trip on a boat trip, hanging out with some other folks. And during the course of this trip, our heroine, our supposed main character, disappears while they're exploring this island, this small island out in the sea. And things get weird from there. So we'll dive into that a little bit more. Bar, I'll start with you on this one. General thoughts.
I had to split this movie up into 2 watches because just of time constraints. And so for like the first hour and a half of this, I said to myself, I love this movie. I can totally see why it's on this list. And then watching the last hour, I was like, why is this a completely different movie? It's 2 completely different movies. Like the first half is like this really interesting, like missing person kind of like mystery kind of thing for me. And then the last hour of the movie is just like your average run of the mill, like Italian romance. And I'm like, why? You were doing so well, and then you fumbled the bag by just completely giving up on the plot. And just, I was so disappointed by the end of watching this film.
I feel like I'm kind of there with you. I feel like this is a masterclass in how far you can get with just perfect shot composition and blocking.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Because
it's a beautiful film.
There's the first, like you said, like the first 45 minutes, really nothing happens. And I didn't care. Like I was just so engrossed in what I was looking at that it didn't matter to me. And Bar, I'm kind of like you because I don't think they gave up on a plot. I think the problem is they inserted a plot. Once things started actually happening and there was a story, I got a lot less interested because the thing about it is that when she goes missing, that like half hour, 45 minutes of the movie where she's missing, they're just looking for her on that rock, was so tense. Just it was the way it was shot versus the tension and just the blocking, the way people would like come in and out of frame, and just the way it was just paced that way, and you're just waiting. Okay, what's going to break this tension? And then they break it with a story that wasn't. And I'm not as down on the last half as you were because I still think it was really a well put together movie. But once the story started, it broke that tension, and I was a lot less interested.
The moment they left that island, they should have just stayed on that rock.
Because after 5 minutes, after 5 minutes on that island, I'm like, is the whole movie going to be on this island?
And I was so hyped for that.
And like a half hour later, I'm like, oh, this whole movie is going to be on the island. I was so excited about it. And then they left. I was kind of bummed out. But Payson and Mark, what are your general thoughts?
My favorite. Yeah, real quick. My favorite part about when they do leave the island is like you've been in like this setting where you are just in like you're just really enjoying the Italian nature and like Bar and Kirk said, it's shot beautifully. I love the sound design, like the way the wind sounds in this movie. It sounds beautiful and just sounds very dulcet. But and like the second you leave and you see a helicopter come in and just seeing this like modern piece of technology enter this world that feels like a period piece, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? But yeah, like what Kirk and Bar said, the thing this movie that reminded me a lot of is like early Luca Guadagnino films. Like it reminds me of I Am Love. It reminds me of A Bigger Splash, kind of Call Me by Your Name, where you really are just in this in this like foreign setting, and you're just watching these characters interact. But I think what makes those movies work is they are just so committed to the limited amount of plot that when this movie starts adding so many details and when you start splitting up all the characters, you just start losing track and start feeling like uninvested. There are certain things I really do like about this movie. Something I just want to I'll just shout this out now. The actress that plays Julia Dominic Blanchard, who is their like younger friend, the look of her face is just so like striking. Like every time we were with her, I really loved those scenes. But yeah, like watching this movie, I was like, there just felt like there was something missing. And if it would have committed to the vibes like created in those first hour, I think I would have loved it even more. With how it is, I still did like it, but yeah, there was just something missing kind of with this movie.
You know, Kirk asked me to be on this show. And, I
was waiting for this.
Mark's delivery is just like one of the best out of everybody.
By rule, I always start with the movies I've never seen before. And, of course, I never saw Journey to Italy and Love Ventura, whatever the fuck this movie is. And, like, I started this and I saw like, 2 hours and 20 minutes. So that's not ideal. So, it just got going and, I went and checked the whole phone. Like, it seemed like kind of the actual start of the movie, I would say, happened. Like, okay, this 25 minutes, that's something. And then we go on from then and like, okay, not much is happening. All right. And then we kind of break from like, I guess is either the first act or the first half. And like, wow, this is really different. And I gotta tell you, as the story unfolded, I was just astounded and not in a good way. I could not believe like where this story went. I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, this is so weird. I don't understand why characters are acting certain way. Like, it feels like we're in some weird bizarro world, like where we kind of care about the mystery until we want to, get some sex in. Like, it is such a weird movie. I just I felt like I could never really get into like a comfortable place with this movie because I never knew what was actually going on. Like it felt like every time like a thing every time like a character should have made a decision, they made like the opposite decision, and we just kind of kept going in that direction.
Yeah, it's weird because the plot that we were discussing is basically what happens is Claudia, who is the friend of the girl who disappeared, and Sandro, who is her fiance, after she disappears, the two of them begin a relationship together. And that's fine. Like, if that's the movie, like, oh, she disappeared and we don't know if she's alive or dead.
And
What's
grief
going
brought
on?
these two
Yeah, they come
together.
together and the guilt of that and how are we going to handle that. That's fine if that's the movie. But the way it's handled, like, I agree with Mark here, it's so weird because they're still looking for her. Like they start exploring under the pretense of looking for her. Yeah, they're looking, but also like they'll just stop looking for her and go do like a fun vacation thing together and be like all happy and like lovey-dovey with each other. And then like the next scene is like they're like concerned about this girl and looking for her. And the movie and the characters never pick a lane, and it was really just discombobulating to watch.
Yeah, where is she? Hey, you want to roll around in the mountains for a little bit?
Like,
Yeah.
like we are at
Like
we
this
come back.
might take
This delays.
Like we come back from the island, and everybody's talking about
Right.
like this ball or something that they want to go to,
Yeah.
and then one of their friends like wants to fuck this painter. I'm like, what the hell is happening right now? Like this person might be dead, and nobody gives a shit.
So funny if it was. The scene with the painter would have been so funny if it wasn't so creepy. Like I was laughing and they said 17 years old, and I was like, ooh, not sure about this.
He also kind of looks like a rejected band member from My Chemical Romance.
He looks so edgy.
I'm an artist and I'm emotional. I only paint pictures of naked women.
Yeah, that was weird. That was so weird. Go, Bar.
The frustrating thing most about this movie is that it is arguably one of the most beautiful looking films I've ever seen. And it still did keep me at least entranced in a way because of that, only to make me more mad as the end of the film started to near.
No, that's fair. And again, like I said, I was still engaged. And again, because of how good there's a scene there where Sandro's I think he's in a museum or some kind of like hall, and there are these paintings, and there's the painting and there's a girl looking at it, and then he comes in frame like the foreground.
Yes.
And it was like watching a 3D movie. Like this is like a 3D movie shot 2D because of how well it just everything is layered. And that, like I said, that and there's the scene in the police station, which is like this like giant cathedral for some reason. Just like all that stuff is just so good looking. But yeah, it was weird. Just a weird way to go. And I don't know. Has anybody ever seen any other Antonioni movies?
No.
See,
I haven't, but I really want to watch Blow Up because that's the one I hear because
Antonioni's does have fantastic garlic knots.
But here's the thing: if you had a problem with the second half of this movie, Blow Up.
I know your opinion on that one.
Blow Up that's from start to finish. That's all. Blow Up. This movie is like intricate and detailed, makes total sense compared to Blow Up. Blow Up is just. If you had any issue with this movie, never watch Blow Up because you're going to hate it. The other two I've seen.
Here's that makes me more interested in Blow Up because at least with that, if you pick a tone and stick with that, I think that will make me accept certain things easier than this one, where this one sort of establishes like a sense of realism at the beginning, and then it breaks off into the absurdity, which I just found that to be a little jarring.
That's fair.
Did anyone else not even realize that the girl that he ends up with at the end like the one that he sleeps with, was the same girl from like the tailor shop where she like ripped a stocking.
Oh, was it?
Because
I mean,
exactly.
I
Yeah.
couldn't even tell. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell. Like, I was
Yeah.
just so weirded out by everything that was going on. I was like, I mean, I was honestly ready for like the third act to be like, okay, nobody gives a shit that our friend is gone, but maybe or her boyfriend and her friend are gonna care at some point. And then they just start like making out outside of a church. I'm like, what the? Okay, I guess this is where we're going. All right, like
And then
Do
they
we?
try to bring it around at the end,
Yeah. We'll bring up
like out of
spoilers. Bring up
nowhere.
spoilers, pace it, because we'll talk about the ending now.
yeah.
Like they try to bring it back around at the end, where he's gone sleeping with this prostitute, and she starts having this like little nervous breakdown of what if she, like I think her name was Anna or something like
Mhm.
that. Like what if Anna is back and he found her and they're running off together, and I'm like, oh, now you care about your friend?
Yeah.
Now you suddenly remember what the reason that y'all even got this started to begin with?
Well, she's not worried about it. She was like, oh shit, Anna will come back and he'll steal my man, who was her man first.
Yeah, but she didn't really care about him. But I do.
Yeah. It's just crazy that like the end, where it ends from where like if you like just if you watch the very beginning of this movie and then like the middle and then just like you have 5 minutes in the middle and then the end, you'd have no idea you're watching the
Just
same
try to
movie. Yeah,
line.
there's no connection because it ends. It's like it's about them and him cheating on her, and it's like, and they don't find Anna. That's just they don't find her. And again, I'm fine with an ambiguous ending, like that,
Mhm.
like what happened to her. But the fact that like it's not even like a concern of any of the characters by the end of the movie is just so weird to me. Like the fact that it just like, did you forget what you were making? Like again, if it's about if the ultimate story is these two characters and their relationship in the in the aftermath of her disappearance, fine. But to try to keep that line going and then completely abandon at the end where it's not even like a thought is just so weird to me.
Plus, considering how he treated our main character, like in like little moments throughout the film,
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what? Fuck him, leave him. And she's
yeah,
like, no, like fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, we got like a fair warning at the beginning of this movie. Is that his current girlfriend was willing to just leave a deserted island to get away from him. Like clearly, he's not a good guy.
Oh, wait.
yeah. So I think we're all we got our ideas. Anything else anybody wants to cover on this one before we go to ratings?
Yeah, I'll just
go ahead.
looking at my notes. There's one last thing I wanted to say. The dog at the beginning, his name is Cosimo. Really nice name. Reminded me of my first dog, Cosmo. So shout out to that dog.
I do want to say that Monica Vitti, that's her name, who plays Claudia, main character, is giving a really fantastic performance for what she has to go through for this film. Like the scene where she's literally shouting for Anna on this island, like you genuinely get the sense of panic and fear and all of that stuff from her, and just like the heartbreak she feels like during multiple scenes with Claudia. Um, so I did want to bring up the fact that I thought Monica Vitti gave a fantastic performance in this film.
No, that's fair. All right. So we will go to our ratings, and Bar, this time we'll start with you.
God, this movie could have been great. This could have been a 5 for me. But it kept going. So it's worth a watch because of like the fantastic camera work, the performances. But it's just not. I don't think it's worth making the list. It's a 3. Or at least it's high.
Yeah, the first half of this movie, definite 4. Like I was just digging it. Like I totally see what I was here. Second half, it drops off. I think there's still enough where I would give it a low 4, just because that first half is so good that it redeems the rest of it for me. But it's close. It's teetering on a 3, but I'll still give it a 4 just because of how much I love that first half. Payson, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm with Bar where I'm also going to be giving it a 3. Definitely not a bad movie by any means. It's just one that I just couldn't quite get my fingers around. It's rare you see 60s movies like this that are paced in this way. Which maybe if I did watch it again, I could maybe see a little bit more. By the way, I did look up how to pronounce his name. It's Michelangelo Antonioni. It's not Antioni, it's Antioni.
Okay.
But
Bullshit.
yeah, maybe if I watch it, I can kind of see. Hey, take your shit up with Google. But yeah, like right now, I would
will.
probably give it a soft 3. Not an all-time great.
Okay.
Ooh.
And Mark, where exactly you gonna land on it?
I don't think I can go as hard as I was going. I think it's a light 2. Like I'll be perfectly honest. I'm not sure if there's like much of anything I like about this movie, but I think it has to be seen. Like it has to be seen just for how wild of a story it is. And just the twists and turns and just the decisions that are made in it. Like I would recommend people watch it, even though I don't think I like it at all.
All right, fair enough.
Mark's giving it the "if I have to suffer, you have to suffer" rating.
It's an interesting bad movie. I think there are plenty of those that exist. It is an interesting bad movie.
I see it. Okay, that's fair. All right. With that, we'll move on to our final movie of the night. We are dipping back into the Ghibli well. Last episode we did Spirited Away. This time, again, tied for number 72 is My Neighbor Totoro, directed by Hayao Miyazaki, out of Japan. And again, like Spirited Away, this did not make the 2012 list. I think I have thoughts on why that is, but it is what it is. So, My Neighbor Totoro is a movie.
I'm so ready for this one. I know Kirk's opinion on this before rewatching it for this.
Pace, I'll let you start. I know I think you're gonna be the highest out of all of us, so I'm gonna let you start on it.
Yeah, absolutely. My Neighbor Totoro is a very simple movie about a dad and his two daughters that move into a new house in order to be closer to their sick mother who is in the hospital. And as they are living in this house, the two daughters get a stronger relationship with nature and meet the spirits outside that no one else seems to be able to see, called Totoros. And with that, sort of like old school Disney movies, the plot is just you hanging out with these characters, and you get really sucked in just in the world and the charm of it. And yeah, that is the plot of My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah, very simple, and honestly, that's what I like about this movie. It's just the two young girls are just like super charming, but they also feel like genuine kids. Like these are like, I feel like movies have a tendency to make kids try to like act more like adults and not necessarily as kids. And I think that this movie really captures like child spirit a lot better than a lot of other ones do. And I think another good way to put the plot of this movie is two young girls in a new situation strengthen the relationship strengthen their relationship with their family and with the spirit of nature.
I got a quick question for you. So you say you talked about Spirited Away earlier. Does that imply that Spirited Away was below My
Yeah,
Neighbor Totoro?
yeah,
But only by like a little bit.
yeah. Just by like
Literally,
Yeah,
it
well,
was just the last episode.
Yeah,
I think even that is kind of nuts, but whatever. Um,
Oh, then you didn't hear my opinion.
um, I gotta be honest. I was sitting there because I'd only seen this movie once. I went through all the or most of the Ghiblis. I went through most of the Ghiblis like a couple years ago, and I only gave this movie one watch, and I was somewhere in the middle. And honestly, I still kind of am. But I was sitting through like the first half. Um, and honestly, the first half, I was kind of thinking to myself, "Wow, there's gonna be two Kirks in this episode." Okay, we're like we're definitely there. And then it slowly started to win me over by the end. I don't think it I don't think it fully gets to like the heights I think of kind of what I expect from Miyazaki. But I
Yeah.
do see a lot of glimmers in it, especially by the end. I think especially like kind of what we realize, like kind of what all these creatures and this imagination in the forest like actually is. And like okay, that is like the type of theme and the type of like kind of thing I would expect from Miyazaki. And I think that in itself I think makes it kind of neat. I think the thing that kind of because I think the real strength of I think Miyazaki is that he's able to capture like this childlike wonderment while the children or just the people in his stories are going through like some wild like kind of like emotional turmoil. And I think that's what's kind of interesting about most of his films. And I think that's kind of why I don't really vibe with this one as much because I don't really feel like that exists until like the last 20 minutes. And it does bother me a bit just because it's like I've seen you do both multiple times with great success. And I kind of wish most of this movie is. And I think even if you just kind of take it as the kind of like the warm blanket that I think it's meant to be, I also think like I think Miyazaki has a better version of that also in his filmography. But I will say I think I like this a little bit more on rewatch. I liked it a little bit more on rewatch. I think it was a little bit more in its wavelength, even though a lot of what I was saying was a bit more negative than I think I meant it to be.
Before we get to you, Kirk, because I want to make sure that we still have some positive things to say. Uh, something that I love about this movie, it's not my favorite Miyazaki. It's not even in my top three. It might be sitting at my four. Um, but something I love about Miyazaki films, especially ones that are definitely more geared towards children, is the patience it has. Because there are something I really hate about modern day children's films is that there has to be something constantly going on, some kind of like motion, some like crazy motion, some kind of loud noises, some kind of like weird wacky conversation. And this one just like sits you down and it doesn't explain everything to you. It trusts the audience enough to hold its hand while it's guiding it softly, but it's not yanking it and you know kind of just like trying to overstimulate you. It trusts kids to be able to follow what's happening, to connect to these characters, and even in those moments of whimsy where like they're riding around on a top through the night sky, it gives you one little line of they think it's the wind, and then just continues to ride on with it. And I love that about this film, that it trusts the audience even if that they're kids.
yeah. I've been dreading this episode. I'm not gonna lie. Because listen, I know I have a reputation with what YLS and whatnot that I like to tear people
Not like
down.
fun.
Because no, that I like to tear people down with their movie opinions and things like that. I don't enjoy doing it. I don't want to make people feel bad for the movies that they like. And but I was honestly considered just staying silent, not even talking. But I have to. It's my show. I have to say something. And I sat down. I'm like, I want to watch this, and I try to do this with every movie on the list. I'm going to sit down and watch this with an open mind and try to see what everybody else sees in this movie. So I turned it on, and I got about 3 seconds into the theme song, and I'm like, "Oh, this is literally for babies. What are we doing?"
Oh no, this theme song sucks. That's bad.
And I'm sitting here, and it just the little marching, like the cheap animation, like repetitive animation. I'm like, "What are we doing here, everybody?"
Oh my God, it's so delightful.
And I'm watching
No,
this.
Payson, no, he's right about that part.
I gotta be honest. Like I was 10 minutes in, and I was thinking, okay, Kirk might be onto something here. Like this is dreadful.
We'll get to it because the part you're talking about, Mark, are the best parts. But the first 2/3, again, please. I know this is a personal love for a lot of people. I'm being completely honest with. I do not see what is in this film for anyone over the age of 4. I just don't see what's there. And it's fine if you. I mean, there's kids stuff that I like. You know, there's stuff my kids watch when they're little that I still enjoy, get a kick out of. There's nothing wrong with that if you like that. But to try and tell me it's one of the greatest movies ever made as an adult just blows my mind. I don't get it. I don't see it. Now, I will say the last 15, 20 minutes with Mark where it turns into like a little bit of an adventure movie and you get the better animation with the cat bus and Totoro and everything. That is, I see that. But the beginning, even the way it's paced at the beginning where, you know, it's like, okay, now it's chore time. We're going to do our chores. Now it's bath time. We're going to take a bath. It's paced like a children's show. Like, here's our day and here's what we do and here's how you act and things like that. And I just don't, I can't, I want it. I want to understand. I just don't get it. I'm sorry, guys.
No,
I kind of want. I kind of want to talk about the ending a little bit because I guess can we throw up like the spoilers thing? Because I kind of want to at least dive into this a little bit, at least on at least kind of what Kirk was saying. Like I kind of understand what you're saying, but I think what is really neat about the ending, and I think like I think the ending kind of makes everything better. Honestly, even though like it's kind of not in that. It's not really in that tone, at least for the first 2/3, where I think it helps bring everything that we already saw into focus. Where we, at least in this last third, we kind of feel, oh, even though these kids are acting like kids and they're really happy, they still have like that little thing in the back of their mind. Mom's sick. We don't know if she's going to get better. We're moving here because we think it's going to make her better. And I think like throughout the entire movie, they are actually worried about their mom. And they're almost using everything that they're seeing throughout the movie as a bit of like an escape mechanism. It's like their way of coping with everything. So like whenever we finally see everything at the end and we kind of see all the emotion kind of pour out of the girls and like because I think that is where like, oh shit, this is kind of the Miyazaki stuff like that I love. This is the Miyazaki stuff like I kind of wanted to see from this. Like I I kind of wish it was a little bit more present in there, even though I do think it kind of works without it being there. Where I do agree with you. I do think just as like just in a pure adventure movie, I think it kind of works. But I do think like I think it's kind of tapping into something more emotional than I think we probably would give it credit for on first glance.
The moment that like you see the writing on the corn, like that moment hit me emotionally. Cause I can't quite explain to you or give you an actual like diagnostical reason as to why. But it was just something in that moment of they went through all of this emotional turmoil with May getting lost and May trying to like walk 3 miles, or no, 3 hours to this hospital, and everyone thinking that she may have died in the pond, and for them to finally get there and just deliver this one piece of corn that they write about how much they like and show how much they love their mom. Like that hit me so hard emotionally. And just having like these little fantastical elements sprinkled in throughout that, I think what Mark said, um, just like is like this little coping mechanism that just really wraps everything together because you build the bond between these two girls with that.
The bond between May
Uh,
and Saki makes this movie. Like
Yeah.
that's why you care so much, because you care about these two sisters.
Like when May is the only person who sees Totoro at first. And then when her sister finally sees it, there's that little spark that goes off between her eyes because it builds that connection with her sister like that.
I'm also kind of curious, like if the original Japanese version does this too, because I really liked, at least for the dub, that they chose real life sisters like Dakota and Elle Fanning to voice the two kids. I'm kind of curious if if the original does that. I feel like that was a really neat decision that I think kind of added a bit more to the movie.
One other thing that I really loved about the writing of these kids is that, and I've noticed this with kids in real life as well. The youngest one will have a tendency to say the exact same thing that like their sibling said a mere second after they had already said it because they want to A, be included, and B, sound smart. So like little moments like that just like really brought these characters to actual life for me. I also want to bring up some of the imagery. The image of the two of them under that light at the bus stop waiting for their father, and like before Totoro even shows up, that one shot is one of the most beautiful scenes in animation that I've ever witnessed because it was such a peaceful but also moody like like shot I've ever seen in an animated film.
Yeah, let's talk about the other.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mason.
Okay, I realize my computer has been
You're fine.
awful.
You're fine. Don't
I
worry about it.
want to punch this thing through a wall. Thank you all for being patient with me. But no, like the reason why I love this movie, and to be clear, this is like if we're ranking all of Miyazaki's movies, this is like 8 for 12 for me. Like I really love it, but it is on the lower tier for me. But I think the reason why this movie works so well is because it almost feels like Miyazaki distilled, where it gives you just enough of these characters' lives, and it makes you care, and he does such a good job of just taking out all the unnecessary details that you don't need, and just focusing on the most pure elements of these characters and this journey that makes it so that just makes it so effective. And yeah, like Bar said, there are just certain shots in this which are just like some of the great shots in animation history. Like everyone knows the shot of them on the bus in the like waiting for the bus in the rain, which like Bar said is beautiful and just perfect. One of my favorite shots, and it's just kind of funny, is when they first arrive at the house and when May is just looking at the soot gremlins, and you just see her really pouty. Like the whole design of May is just so perfect. Like it is like she is genuinely like one of my favorite kid characters from a design perspective. And I really do love just everything that these characters go on. And yeah, towards the end, like it doesn't feel forced for me. Like how maybe the first bit of conflict is like, oh, can they get to the hospital in time so that way they can see that their mom is okay? And that is the most conflict you have with the movie. And I just think that is really, really just simple and sweet.
Yeah. Pause. Something positive I'll say about the animation is I do think there's a lot of good stuff, especially at the end. That scene of when Cat Bus really gets going, and just the light on him and the way he moves and everything, I think is really good. I do
Like the
think
way
there's
that his
some.
eyes would just like go all over the place and the light
Yeah.
would follow.
Yeah. I do think there's some like bad animation in this though. Like I think there are some times where the character look like like Peanut Christmas Special with like the dot eyes. You know what I mean? Like I think there's just some, and again, like I said, I'm rating this as we're talking about. This is one of the greatest movies ever made, and it's an anime movie. I gotta talk about. I gotta nitpick it. So I do like and I don't vibe with Miyazaki. I'd say hit or miss. I'm hit or miss with him. And one of the reasons I miss is there's a lot about the animation I don't like. I don't like. I call it the blob animation, where there's just like a bunch of things that come out, and like it's just something that Ghibli does all the time that I really don't like. And I think this is animation wise is a lot tighter than some of their movies, and I appreciate that overall. But I just did with some of the character design, especially with the humans. I think there was just a little bit of like it looked like they were cutting corners a little bit at some points.
It's also made in the 80s.
Yeah. Back before Miyazaki had like a real budget.
Yeah.
You were saying
Say again, Payson? We didn't hear you.
Yeah.
No, I was agreeing with Mark, where I do just think that might just be just some animation parts just don't quite just have aged a little worse than others. But at the same time, like I can visualize what Kirk is saying, and I don't have these issues with like Nausicaa, which came out like 4 years earlier. So maybe it was just an animation error, even though I do think the animation is for the most part in this movie very pretty.
Yeah, I mean, if I line this up with other Ghibli movies, just judging by animation, this is probably one of the higher tier for me, just because it is more on a little more realism. Because I think when they get way out there and things just get starting weird, I really don't like that style. You see it like you got a little bit of it in Spirited Away, you got it in Ponyo, Boy in the Heron, it's all
Howl's Moving Castle is one I love Boy. Howl's Moving Castle is the one that I think is like the best example of like what I'm imagining of what you're describing of just and we're just gonna throw everything at you.
Yeah, and nothing has a defined shape. Everything is just constantly like it's like gelatinous. That's just my personal pet peeve. So I want to make sure, I feel bad because I was so negative. I want to make sure everybody has a chance to say everything nice they have to say about the movie. So does anybody else, anything else you guys want to cover before we give our final ratings of this and wrap it up for the night?
Yeah, I only had like one quick thing I wanted to add, just like kind of a bit like on some of like the creature design of like at least Totoro and kind of like all the other stuff. Like I kind of like that they have a bit of like a bit of a frightening look to them. Like I feel like they almost kind of like have like this like monstrous look, and whenever we see like Totoro grin, he kind of almost has like this Pennywise look, where I feel like on the surface these creatures should be frightening, at least to the normal person, but a child would actually find them endearing. And I kind of like that, we kind of almost bring that bit of realism that like a child actually would not be afraid of any of this. They would just see like the majesty in it, so to speak. I think that's just a nice little detail. I think that like Miyazaki just throws into it.
That and its cute fluffiness.
Oh yeah.
Though he does have like gigantic
claws.
I feel like he
yeah.
If I could just say one more final like really positive thing, as I've gotten older, I genuinely think Joe Hisaishi might be my favorite film composer. And
this score is beautiful.
It's very good, yeah.
The music just adds so much to the feeling and atmosphere of this movie. Like when we first arrive at the house and just hearing that like those like very simple tones, and then when you are flying on the cat bus and just feeling so whimsical. Like, this is not one of my favorite scores by him, but I still think like this is an incredible. The music is absolutely astounding here.
Especially like knowing his backstory to kind of how he became the composer, I think is kind of
Oh, yeah.
wild. That he
What is
just
that story? I'm not familiar with it.
Well, like I just kind of learned this when I went to like a Ghibli panel in Comic-Con. Is that apparently like whenever Miyazaki was just starting out, like Hisashi basically submitted like a mixtape of music, and Miyazaki just kind of liked it and just kind of hired him to do the music for the first film. He just kind of kept hiring him after that.
He's
That's
always
pretty
used them. Yeah, every movie is composed by him. It's really cool.
nice.
Cool.
All right. So we will get final ratings. I'll go first just to rip the Band-Aid off.
I was about to say.
I'm glad you guys guys love it so much. I'm glad it brings you joy. I just don't get it. This is a 1 for me.
Oh,
Not because I think it's bad, but because every time I watch this, I have to ask, what movie is everybody watching? It's not a terrible movie, but to rate it as high as it is everywhere. Me personally, I think if you have a toddler to distract while you're doing laundry, perfect movie. Perfect movie. Other than that, I just don't really see much there. But again, that's just me. Mark, we'll go to you next.
Probably should have gave La Ventura a 1, so it wasn't the only one in the episode. Yeah, like for me, I definitely like this more on rewatch, but I am still pretty firmly like this is still like outside of like the top 5 of like even Miyazaki. Like I think it's like it's much. I think the movie you talked about last episode is much better than this one, but I think this is still a 3. I think it's very much worth a watch. I don't think it belongs in this top 100, but I do think like it is certainly a good movie that I think everybody should at least give a shot.
Bar, your thoughts?
it's a very light 4 for me. I think it's definitely top 100 worthy, even though I've double checked. I've seen 7 Miyazaki films. This lands square in the center, like at number 4 for me. So like I definitely see why it would make a list like this. So very, very light 4.
All right. And Payson, take us home for the night.
Kirk, I like you. You're a good guy, and I think there are lies said about you in this community that are completely untrue. And people say that you hate fun. I'm like, guys, Kirk's the most fun guys ever. You should see this guy at a barbecue. You should see him at the circus, at the zoo. Guy loves fun. When you say, I'm improving here, guys. When you say stuff like Totoro is a 1, that just makes me think some people might be right. I jest, but no, I'm going to be with Bar, and I'm going to give it a light 4. Honestly, I think the worst thing I think I would say about the placement of it on this list is I'm with Mark. If you're gonna have either this or Spirited Away, I think Spirited Away definitely trumps that one for me. Spirited Away would genuinely be a 5 for me.
I
we just introduced ratings here.
It's a
No, and I
definitely,
know,
like,
and
it-
you're
it's
kind of
adapt-
crazy,
adaptation.
you Philly man. But no, I genuinely do. Really, yeah. I do love this movie, and I think it's one of the most charming and just great like comfort movies out there for me.
All right. Okay. So that brings the episode to a close for the night. Join us next month for episode number 9. Our movies are going to be Metropolis, Andrei Rublev, and La Jetée.
Jetée.
Ooh.
And we are going to be joined by Adam Collins making his return to Multiplex. So that should be a fun episode. Thank you very much, Mark, for joining us. I'm going to have you back at some point for movies you're probably going to like better. But I appreciate you.
3.
I appreciate you, grin and bearing it here tonight. And obviously to my co-hosts, Payson and Andrew James Barr. Thank you guys as always. But that's going to do it. We'll close it out, and we'll see you guys next month. Thanks for watching.